But anyway, in an effort to find things to talk about, I keep just talking about what I'm up to. What are you guys up to? Anything going on? Anything you want to talk about? Anything gnawing at you? Anyone for tennis?
Um, went
I
back
don't
to the
play.
office for the first time.
Oh,
Yeah, I've been
that
doing
sounds
that this
terrible.
week. It's there. I have mixed feelings about it, but it is nice to not be stuck in the little corner in my apartment anymore. Sitting in the same spot that I've been sitting in for most of the day, every day for the past year and a half. Hell, I don't know how long. Almost year and a half. Not quite. When was it? March or April that we all had to stay home?
Something like that, yeah. Year and a quarter? Year and a
Mm-hmm.
third? One of those.
Yeah, one of those. But there's hardly any people there. It's like the official on like for the official rotation schedule that we're on right now, there's only supposed to be about 2/3 of the people around the office anyway. But people are being lenient about whether people actually have to come in. And I found out that several people in my immediate area moved to the building next door for various reasons. So it's like, so in my immediate area, it's just like me and one, two, three, four, five other people that I can think of right now. When it was previously, several more than that. But it has been good to separate um, work from home a little more again. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that. That was one of my problems when I went full time was always being at home means always working.
Hmm. Yeah, and I feel more encouraged to, stop what I'm doing and go home at at a decent time versus just sit there and keep working, whatever.
Yeah, there are definitely pros and cons. As someone who always, no matter what the job was, despised going to work,
Hmm.
yeah, that sounds awful to me. But but it turns out it wasn't the going, it was the work
It was the
for
work
me.
part. Yeah.
So huh. So what else? What else? Excellent.
It
Oh,
was something I was gonna mention,
Oh yeah, what was it?
but the problem is I got distracted by my son, and so
Ah, so it fell off.
it absolutely did.
oh, Ashley and I have been watching various stand-up comedy things on Netflix here and there. And there's one person in particular that I like a lot. We both like a lot. And I've been recommending to people because one, it's very funny, and two, it's 100% clean, so you can recommend it to anybody. The guy's name is Nate Bargatze.
Somehow I knew that's who you were gonna say.
Really?
I've watched his first one. I haven't watched his new one yet.
Hmm.
But you're right. He is really funny.
Yeah. He had yeah, like the first thing was like a 30-minute thing on that the stand-ups Netflix series. And then he got one special and then he did another special. And yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, the bit with him changing shirts by his car and some old guy walking up and being like, Olivia? I was like, man, that whole bit is hilarious. Someone who's really funny, who is not clean, is Tom Segura.
Tom Segura sounds familiar. I don't know whether I've watched anything yet.
He's got, I think, 4 stand-up specials on Netflix, and
Hmm.
and I love it. He's funny. He's a funny motherfucker. Like, Mike, did you watch Inside?
Um,
What is Inside?
I'm not sure. That doesn't sound familiar.
That's a game that I need to play. I know that's not what we're talking about, but at some point I need to play Inside. Because I played Limbo, so I have to play Inside. This is how this works. It is called Inside, right? Yeah, there it is.
Oh, it's a Bo Burnham special.
Oh.
No, I haven't seen it. I don't think I've actually seen any Bo Burnham material. I've only seen like GIFs here and there for some reason.
So this is my unpopular opinion. I don't think Bo Burnham is funny. I think Bo Burnham is clever. I think he's clever as hell, but I don't find him funny. I watched his first two specials, and I was like, oh.
I get what you mean by that.
Yeah. I also just don't like comedians who pull out an instrument and sing silly songs, which is one of his things. But
yeah.
But for some reason, I'm one of the few people who are like, oh my god, Bo Burnham! And I'm like, no. Don't let me color your experiences, Mike. You should watch his stuff. Yeah. But doesn't do it for me. So I didn't bother watching Inside.
So, for me, I've been playing Final Fantasy X, and I've thoroughly enjoyed getting a chance to play the game again.
And this is where I switch off and Mike perks up.
Do what?
So this is where I switch off and Mike perks up, because I've never played 10, and Mike has played the holy hell out of 10.
Yeah, 10 is the only one I have played.
Yeah, I'm like, can I do spoilers?
Yeah, go for it.
I assume I can with the game, seeing as it's incredibly old at this point. It's been out. It's had a sequel to it, and has been re-released and everything. I'm about to get into Xanarkand right now, and I've been trying to make sure I catch as much stuff as I can as I've been making through the story. But my goal is to try and see if I can do more of the capturing the creatures and doing more of the making the characters, as OP as possible. Right now, Waka is pretty OP, seeing as he throws the blitz ball, and he essentially one shot kills most things that fly.
Oh yeah.
And I'm taking him through Auron's sphere grid section right now.
I think that's what I ended up doing with him too. I can't remember what other option you have with him.
The thing I don't like is how few of the spheres that take out level 3 and level 4 blocks. Like, they're for those of you guys that don't know what this is, instead of leveling, you get to move through a sphere grid where you can be like, I want to do this one where he gets more strength or magic and everything. But so that you don't go into other characters' sections, they're blocked off by leveling spheres that, unless you have a thing that unlocks it, you can't go that way. Well, there's an abnormally large number of level 3 and 4s, which are really hard to come by. And I've been locked off from certain sections of the sphere grid because I don't have enough of them. And it's really annoying.
Yeah.
Like, I had 2 of the characters, they got to the end of theirs, and I'm going, I literally can't do anything else with these characters because they're locked off.
Yeah, it forces you to wait quite a while before you can start multi-classing with some people.
Yeah. So I cheated. When I say cheated, I had the teleportation spheres, and I just teleported them somewhere else to get around it.
Oh, that's fine.
Because why am I gonna wait? I've got stuff to do with my characters. So, but that's essentially what I've been playing, and I've logged in quite a few hours at this point playing the game, and I'm at the end of Chrono Trigger. I just haven't finished the game yet, and my problem is that I tried to take out Lavos, and I took out the first stage of him, but I got stuck on the second stage, and all I need to do is I need to level up my characters so that way they can survive his big attack that attacks everybody. But until I do that, I can't beat the game. So that's what got me going. I was like, oh, I'll just play 10 for a little bit so that I can have something to do, and then I just focused on 10, and I haven't beaten Chrono Trigger. That happens to me sometimes. When you've played the entire game, but you're to the point where all you have to do is beat the final boss, and you're done with the game, but you get kind of hung up, and then you're like, well, I'll come back to it, and then you don't. That's where I was at Final Fantasy 9, seeing if I can bring Chewie back.
I mean, I'm here.
Okay.
Just having not played 10, I have no frame of reference. And at this point, I might
played...
as well have not played 9. It's been so damn long.
Well, I got to the very final boss with 9, and the final boss, I was doing good, and then he, has his attacks where he does this thing, and it killed off one of my party members, and while I'm trying to fix that, he did something else, and he killed off another one, and at that point, it just became, I'm trying to bring back a member, and then he kills off the member I brought back, so I have to bring them back again. And essentially it was just neither one of us is making progress except for him, because he's got infinite mana to beat me with, and I'm sitting here going, I can only use one Phoenix down at a time. I don't have anything that will res the whole party, so I can't sort of dig myself out of the hole. And then there were points when I did, only for him to do a big board wipe and for me to be right back where I started. So, once again, I just needed to grind to get myself up to where I needed to be so that I could survive the final boss, but decided, I'll come back to it. Let me play this for a little bit, and then I ended up playing that for hours and hours and hours, and then just never got back to finishing the game.
Yeah, I don't even remember why I stopped playing 9 all those years ago. I just did. So, Pinball says in chat that the first 3 of the Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters came out, which I did not know. And while Dirk was talking about 10, I was reading some of the reviews for 1, and it looks like the Pixel Remaster version of Final Fantasy 1 is awesome if the last one you played was the NES version. It appears that if you've played any of the versions past that, it looks like you could probably skip this one, because it removed all of the extra stuff from like the DS and PSP version, and it seems to have changed a few things that made some people not happy.
Well, the big thing that people are not happy about is the font. Apparently the font is just really, really small, and it's just awful.
I mean, it does look kind of tiny, but it doesn't look awful.
Well, that's the problem, is that for some of what they're doing is it's just so tiny you can't read what's going, like the attacks and all that. It's just people have the biggest thing I've been reading news wise is people are really not happy about how the font choice that they went with.
I mean, I guess if you're playing it on a television across the room, it's probably a pain, but like I'd be playing it on my computer right here in front of me. So, whatever. To each their own, I guess. I guess if you have some sort of limited vision problems, this would be a giant pain.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not typically enough to cause the sort of outrage that Dirk is talking about that I've seen. So, But it looks like, yeah, Final Fantasy 1, since I played the PSP version, it looks like there's no need to play this. But 2 and 3, the reviews seem pretty okay. As far as the game itself goes, or the remaster itself goes. Of course, Final Fantasy 2 is probably the worst of the numbered Final Fantasies. So, yeah, but it looks like they're staying mostly true to the original versions of these games and not fooling with what later re-releases have added.
Yeah.
Which... that's like a plus and a minus, depending on your point of view. Like, I didn't really care about any of the bonus dungeons in the first Final Fantasy. Once I did one and was like, wow, this is tedious. But if you're into that sort of thing, them not being there is going to be kind of awful. I'll have to wait and see how some of the reviews are for 2 and 3. Like, this is just user reviews, which are a mixed blessing. I'll see how some of the actual reviews are, if I can find any of those.
Yeah, unfortunately, my background is going to be 4 and 6 in terms of Final Fantasies that I've actually played that are on this list, and so.
Yeah, and those aren't out yet. 4, 5, and 6. Pinball said comes out later.
Yeah, recently. Well, I've already told you guys whenever I played 6, and 6 was awesome to go back and play.
Yeah.
6 still very much holds up.
6 is still my favorite. I haven't decided if I'm gonna, at some point, hiccup. For instance, if this Pixel remaster of Final Fantasy 2 is, really good and better than the PSP version, I haven't decided if I'm gonna actually play 2, bring back Final Fantasy Fridays and stream it. But I don't want to move ahead and do Final Fantasy 4 and then have to go back to 2 and 3, because that sounds like a nightmare. So I've just sort of suspended Final Fantasy Fridays for now until further notice. Which is what, tomorrow night I'll be streaming Bloodstained, because that game is awesome.
Good. Well, I'm still looking forward to when eventually Final Fantasy VII Remake gets on PC.
If it ever does.
Well, but there was
Bill just finished re-platinuming Final Fantasy VII Remake. He did all of the stuff in the DLC to get to platinum again. 2 days ago.
It's like many of us have said, that the remake is amazing. There are certain ones where you can tell that this was a passion project, and remake is definitely a passion project. They went above and beyond for that one. But I'd heard, I was reading an article, and people were saying, what should be the next one that they do, and 10 had kind of come up as 10 would be a good one, because someone actually went and brought, they personally went and made 4K resolution, and went and redid some of the graphics in Final Fantasy X, and they're like, the graphics look really good, and it'd be cool to see that world as a remake. I personally would love to see 6 is being the one that they do, though.
I mean, they've got to
They're
finish
gonna do
7
a
first.
Well, I know. By the time that they get done with 7, and they're like, okay, should we do one? A lot of the teams for the older ones are going to be, those guys are going to be retired.
Or
At
dead.
this point, a lot of them probably, a lot of the original group, they're just kind of coming in consulting and everything, or whatnot. I mean, these games were a good long time ago when they came out.
Yeah. I hope Square Enix doesn't go the way that Capcom has and just start churning out remakes of all their old games. Like, granted, Resident Evil Village did just happen to interrupt the remake fest, so that's good.
Mhm.
Well, my thing is with the remakes. Remakes are good if you like. Again, with Final Fantasy VII, it's like, yes, we're going to do the story, but we're also going to kind of stitch together that there's more to the story, and that there were, the way that they did the remake is really interesting in how the story rolls with it. I think that remakes are great if you plan on adding more things to it. And at some point, I'm going to bring this back around to a topic which I know we could spend quite a bit of time on. But before we do that, taking an original story and a campaign, and everything, and saying, okay, we're going to have everything there. We're going to add more content to it, and we're going to improve the landscapes, add more area to it, like again with Final Fantasy X, making the calm lands bigger, making the places bigger, so that and including more history and more stuff, so that when you're looking there, you're going, wow, this is both beautiful and sad to see all of this culture gone.
Ah, sorry,
Sort
I
of.
thought I hit mute. Oh, God, I did hit mute. If you click somewhere, it unmutes. Oh, God. Why is that so loud? You guys can't hear it, but chat can. Sorry. I'm sorry. Keep going, Dirk. I'm sorry.
But why I bring this whole thing up was we were talking about Blizzard and the Warcraft 3 Reforged fiasco.
Whatever happened with that anyway?
Gosh.
Did they ever fix it?
No.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
I've been keeping up on everything that's been going on with Blizzard, and Blizzard has. I unsubscribed to World of Warcraft. I haven't deleted my account or anything like that, but I canceled my subscription to it, and I really have no interest in going back right now, just because the state of World of Warcraft is not great. The content is very stale to me, and repetitive, and the lore right now is just a gigantic garbage fire. And so I'm just kind of I'm not doing anything with it right now. But and with the way Blizzard has been doing things very recently and everything, that's a whole nother topic of discussion. But
yeah, I was
report
kind of bummed that I had already gotten the pre-order for the new Hearthstone set when
now all the
when the lawsuit
crap
information
hit the
dropped. I was like, oh, I had to get it early for once, didn't I? Usually I like buy it like 3 days before, but no, this time I was like, oh, I've got the money, I'll just go ahead and get it. And then all that happens, and I went,
I mean, but I pre-ordered it, and Warcraft 3 Warcraft 3 Reforged and everything else, and then this report came out saying that because of Activision, the parent company and everything, that they didn't want to put any money and resources into the remake. And so the team was never big enough, never had enough people to do it. They made all these promises in the beginning, which were awesome. This is what promoted the game. This is what got people interested. But because they were not given enough resources, they couldn't go and do all the things they wanted to do. Because for me, going and just saying, okay, we're just going to reskin the original game, I wouldn't have spent money on that. But if you're going to say, we're going to go and take the original campaigns, we're going to add, there's 10 missions in each campaign, we're going to add 5 more to each campaign. They're going to further flesh out the story. They went in and they redid all the characters. Like, they went in and re-recorded people that were supposed to improve what's going on with the story to update the lore, like how to update it so that everything has a much smoother continuity to it. Well, because they were so short on resources, all that stuff that they did got thrown out, and all they essentially did is they just took the original story and they just updated the character models and made everything prettier. And that's all they did. There are functionalities in the game, the original game, that are not there anymore, like ladders. Their ladders have not been re-implemented. And just, like I said, it's just a gigantic dumpster fire that happened with it. And the parent company, like Activision, really, really, really has just taken Blizzard Entertainment and just said, you guys, we want you to only do this. If you think of doing anything else, you're gone. And they've done a fantastic job of doing that to people. And it makes me so sad that I looked forward to Blizzard games for years. And in the past 4 years, I have just lost. Like, I still play some of the games, but I've just not been happy with anything that they have done. It really just feel it, and that's what the report came out essentially said, is that we as the consumers are their cash cows, and if I can just keep putting out these, keep updating things, keep doing this, that's very minimal amount of effort that's being put in, and charge you full price for it, so that way I can improve my profit margins but not bring any new content, no new IPs to the table. I'm just so tired of what Activision has done to that company. But that's corporate America, corporate and all that.
I'm also pretty sure Bobby Kotick can go to hell.
Oh yeah. He can burn in the giant dumpster fire that he created.
Oh yeah.
Because I think that was the big thing with Activision, is that they needed new IPs, because the only ones they had was the Modern Warfare and all this, and there are so many Modern Warfare versions and everything else. They haven't come up with any new IPs either. And so you're just coming out as like the new Madden, instead of it being, you had 2011, or we're coming out with 2012 and 2021, and it's the same game, but tweaks. With a new person on the box.
That too. Yeah, like, I feel for the teams at Blizzard who don't have anything to do with all of the current nonsense going on. Like, my buddy Blizzard Mike works for the Overwatch team, and he's like, they're just furious and speechless because the teams at Blizzard are segregated, isn't quite the word, but they're very separate. There we go. And so what goes on in one part of the company doesn't necessarily go on in the other part of the company. And he's like, what? Because I poked him. I'm like, dude, you doing okay? He's like, what the fuck? I'm like, okay. Like, ow. So, yeah. And, like, I feel bad for the Hearthstone team because, like, this all dropped while they're trying to release a new set. And, like, they canceled all of their reveals and just sort of put out the rest of the set list quietly. They're like, yeah, all right. They're just, here it is if you want to see it. And I'm like, yeah. I was all excited about this set, and then all that happened, and
Yeah.
like most of, from what I've been able to glean, most of the allegations come from the WoW team. So, but even so, I still have no interest in. Like, I'm not gonna do a pack opening or a set reveal or any of that for the new Hearthstone set, just because it doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep playing Hearthstone on my phone, but I'm not gonna promote it in any way or any of that until there's some kind of meaningful change that. Preferably it involves Bobby Kotick's head on a pike, but, you know, that's not going to happen. Like, Ubisoft had all of these massive allegations of sexual abuse that went literally all the way to the top, and nothing happened. But they weren't sued by a government, so hopefully something will happen here? Hopefully?
Hopefully.
Probably not, though.
I'm not holding out high hopes, but I do hope that people are going to be held accountable for what happened.
It would be nice, but accountability died in this country in 2016, and it was only sort of a thing before that. So,
Not holding your breath on that one.
Yeah, no.